The arrows I'm going to be making are 11/32 with the taper down to 5/16. But I was watching a lot of people on YouTube, and you know, I try and give good information out on YouTube. But unfortunately, sometimes there's one person that'll come up with a concept and they put it on YouTube, and then 100 other people will see it and go, oh, what a great idea, I'll do that, and it's wrong. Next thing, you've got this is the way to do it, because that's how everyone tells you on YouTube, whereas no, one person put it up originally, it was wrong, everyone else copied them. So whatever you do, I strongly suggest test it out before you actually think, oh, this is the way it's to be done. And I found there was absolutely so much misinformation about making arrows out there that I decided I'd do it myself. So I've got these just on 10 mil or just below 10 mil. So what you're going to need to start with is a piece of timber, doesn't matter what sort of timber, about the length or a little bit longer of the dowel you want to make or the arrow you want to make. And then machine or cut a groove, a V groove, right down the middle like that. Now you can do it on a table saw, a hand plane, or a router and get a V. You don't want it so deep that the top of the square is below the surface, because when we take this edge off here and turn it over, it can sink lower and you can't plane it. So it's got to be, oh, I think it's about halfway or a little bit less than halfway. Just like that. And what I've done in this end is put a screw. So pop this in the vise and that stops up against that nail there. The first thing we're going to do is just knock this top edge off here. And believe it or not, it really doesn't take, actually where's my block plane? Just to let you know you can use any plane. There you go. So it really doesn't matter. Let's see that. Oh. So it doesn't matter which plane you use. I personally prefer the little palm smooth. Beautiful. There's not much weight to it at all. And just sits in my hand like that. If I wanted to, I could take this handle out, knock that out and just use it, but I just find it's nice to hang on to. Now, no matter what plane you're using, make sure that you don't smother the mouth, because if you've got the hand over the mouth like that, that can fill up with shavings and block, and that will jam the blade and it won't work that well. So here we go. You can, if you want, when you start, just count how many strokes you take. I thought after a while you just get an idea and you can see what you're doing. I don't know if you can see here, but this end is wider than the other end. That's something to keep in mind. What that comes from is when you're starting out, you don't have as much pressure down here, and therefore you're a bit timid. You start cutting about here, and then when you're coming off, when you're coming off here, you tend to be nosing down, so you're taking a thicker shaving. So just keep an eye on that. If you notice it's thicker here than it is down this end, just give it a couple of rubs down that end. Now what I'm looking for, and it's only practice, is the width of that plane is about half the width of that side. So that's done for me. So then I'll turn it upside down. You can go 90 degrees or you can go 180 degrees. It doesn't matter, you've got to plane all four sides anyway. Whoop. Whoa! That's one downside. If the timber's got a little bit of a bend in it, like that, it will run off, so we can just straighten that out. Won't take long. There we go, it'll sit in there nicer. Couple down this end. Turn it this way. So what we're actually doing is taking all the four corners off, and we're going from a square to an octagon. I said before, a lot of misinformation out there, and one of them was saying if you're making 11 30-second arrows, start out with half-inch square. Well, that to me was ridiculous and too much extra work. So I worked out that if I wanted an 11 32nd or a 5/16, machine it down to that, and providing you don't take anything off the width, you're going to save yourself a heck of a lot of work. All right. I think this might be the last one. Okay, so we've gone from square to now octagonal. Now what we've got to do is a couple of rips on the octagonal edges, and just, it doesn't take long, 1 or 2, 3 goes and you've knocked that peak off. And then when it gets a bit too hard to hold in the whatever you'd call this, jig, what I do is I turn it around and I then will hold it on this end and turn it as I'm planing. If you can see that all right, there you go. So I'm actually planing but turning it at the same time. And then if you see a bit that needs a little bit extra attention, you can just stop it there and give it just a little bit extra TLC. Turn it around. And if you've got good lighting, you can actually see the ridges. And more importantly, you can feel them. And then when you got to the stage, you've just got little bits on the edge you can feel. Grab some, I'm going to use 100 grit, and just hold it and turn it as you sand. If you're going to have a lot of fine sanding coming off and you're sensitive to it, wear a mask. And that's got a little flat spot right there. If you look at that, that's getting, let's go, that's getting pretty close to being round. The other thing I've seen done, which is fun, if I can find it, I tidied the workshop up, now I can't find anything, is battery drill. I say a battery drill because they're not quite as mean as full electric drills. and you've got much more control over the speed. And you can just put it in there, turn it on, or you can put the drill in the vise if you like. Other things I've seen people do, which I don't know, I'm going to investigate a little bit further, but they put it on a linisher whilst it's on the drill, and then they're running it across the linisher. I think, honestly, that would take too much off. It's another reason you have extra length, because the chuck isn't all that brilliant on timber. Well, I'm not sure how that sound is going with my microphone, but all right, so this here, that is almost perfectly round now. What I'm going to be using these for, as I said, is arrows, and I've got this really great little pencil sharpener. That ends for tapering the nocks, that ends for tapering the pointy end, or the business end. And what happens once you've got it down to the size you need, you then put this in here, and check it out, it acts like a big pencil sharpener. And when it's gone down as far as it needs to, it won't take anything else off. And there I have a beautiful tapered end to put my pile on, or a point or sharp bit, whatever you want to call it, on the end of the arrow. And then on this end, I use this end, and it's a short, we might even do it. It's a shorter, no I can't, because I've just tapered this end, so I will have a go. I use a shorter taper, and that's to put the knock on. But it honestly doesn't take that much time once you've done a few to get in the swing of it. That gives you the longer taper for the point, and this will give me a shorter taper for the knock. And as soon as it's home, that's it, nothing else. So you can see there, I've got a long taper for the point, and there, a short taper for the knock. So that's it, Steve's pulling the shed door down and saying, remember to keep it sharp, but more importantly, keep it safe. Don't get splinters in your finger. Look after yourself, be kind to each other, and I look forward to having your company in the workshop again very, very soon. Till then, goodbye, God bless, see you later.